One of the biggest complaints I get from schools marketers is that they are overstretched and under-resourced. So are you one of those school marketers that does everything from events to yearbooks on top of your everyday promotions and growing the college? It's so important that we learn to grow our roles, that we don't just make do with what we have, but that we learn to grow our team and resources, and that after 5 to 10 years of spending all of our time in our marketing roles in our schools, that we leave it better than what we arrived with. And that means a bigger team, it means a better resourcing, and it means bigger projects that are carried out in a more professional manner. And all of that takes the ability to grow our marketing departments. So I often say that the best marketing professionals out there are actually just really good at educating their leaders in terms of how important the marketing function is, educating them in terms of what it takes to get the job done and the details that need to be covered to get the job done. And we need to become marketing advocates for our departments. So how do we grow our school's marketing plan and budget? One of my favorite books to read is a book called Getting to Yes. It's an excellent book on negotiation, and it's applicable in so many different areas in life. But I feel like a lot of those skills of negotiation really make good tools for a school marketer to use in terms of negotiating for their department. I want to cover two areas here: growing your budget and then also growing your team. So let's look at many of us can remember 5 to 8 years back when we worked tiny budgets, and hopefully you've grown each year to invest more and more in your marketing. But I'm seeing a lot of schools that are being left behind with stale budgets that were set 10 years ago, and they're just making do with what they have. So one of the most important things we need to do is to grow our marketing budget. The first thing that we need to do is provide clear reporting about what we are doing with our current budget. We need to know exactly where our enrollments are coming from, and we need to set up super clear reporting so that we can make it clear that we're being diligent with our budget and that you're getting a good return on investment. So the first focus area for you is, if you're not at that place of knowing what's working and what's not, is to set up good conversions. This can be done by doing actions like setting up conversions on your website, like knowing how many inquiries you're getting, tour bookings you're getting, and online applications, etc. And then also measuring your marketing campaigns. So not everything is precisely measurable, but you're going to get a very good idea when you, especially with your digital campaigns are a little bit more easy to measure. And then also with our traditional campaigns, you can have things like unique landing pages to see how they're going, unique phone numbers, unique SMS to inquire, measurement techniques, and also surveys to parents to ask, how did you hear about the college and which campaigns have you seen recently? It's really important that, even though it's not a precise art, that we are implementing some ways to measure the success of our marketing campaigns. So once you have data on your side, you can present the argument. So for example, you can go and say, hey, we just spent $5,000 on our previous campaign, or $10,000 on our previous campaign, and look, we got 5 to 10 enrollments for that ad spend. How many more enrollments do you want to buy? That's the way to put the wording. You're buying enrollments with your marketing. And if you can get to a point where your principal knows that if he puts $1,000 in, he's going to get an enrollment out, guess what? He'll be super keen to put more money into your marketing team. We also need to educate our leaders on the difference between branding and call to action marketing. It's important that you have a bit of a budget separation there, and that you're not putting out branding campaigns and then saying, oh, we've got low return on investment, a month later. But that you clearly have budget allocated towards branding and big picture, long-term thinking, and then the call to action marketing campaigns. Another technique that I find really successful in terms of building our marketing budget is to really just start working through your budget and seeing how much of that is actually working for you. We need to learn to remove items from our budget that aren't going towards active marketing. I've had this before where you look at how much of that budget is actually movable, and then you look and you see, oh, well, we're doing a yearbook every year. That's kind of automatically allocated to the yearbook. Are we doing signage? That's automatically allocated to signage, and then you have like 30% of your marketing budget that can actually work for you each year. It's important that you go through that with your college leadership and then start to take out things like signage, yearbooks, magazines, even prospectus printing and collateral, and negotiate for that to be put outside of your marketing budget so that you have something to work with. And that may take a little bit of negotiation. So now in terms of growing your marketing team, we also need to start with showing diligence with what we have. And so we need to know what our team is working on. If you have just one marketing assistant and you feel like you need another team member to look after another area of your marketing department, we need to know how we are using our time effectively currently. What I like to do every few years is have a 1 month intense period where we use time tracking software to just measure how we are using our time, and I've used those reports then to go to upper management and say, this is how they're using their time, how can we shuffle that, is there anything that they're doing that we shouldn't be doing, and just to show diligence in terms of we're a really effective team and we know how to use our time wisely. And then the next thing is to start by requesting assistant roles. Instead of saying we need a full-time this and that, ask for 1 or 2 days of assistance, and start to become a team member that can really upskill your team and make do with hiring entry-level employees and then building them up to the capacity that they need. It's a longer-term approach, but it results in long-term loyalty, job satisfaction for you because you're growing people and you are creating the team that you need. One of the biggest ways that we can grow our team is to consider getting a marketing agency. So many schools are wary of getting marketing agencies because they feel like they should be doing that role themselves and they should be covering those functions internally. But for me, the benefit of hiring an agency includes that number one, you get several experts working on your digital marketing for less than the price of one team member. It's also a results-based contract, so it's risk-free. It doesn't mean that you have to bring someone in, train them up for months, and eventually people find that if they bring new team members in to cover, especially digital marketing functions, that those team members get sucked into other areas of the college. This is a nice way to keep it clean and separate, and they're accountable for the results that they bring, and if they don't bring results, you don't pay them, so it's a risk-free strategy for you. They also will help you to lift your game as experts. They do this all day, every day. There's large teams. They're talking about your projects, and they're learning from what they're doing every day. So you really do gain from the experts that you get on team. Look for an agency that will actively work with you instead of passive mediums. So a lot of schools will invest their money in terms of billboards and outdoor signage and things like that. But for the same price of those different mediums, you can actually get a team that's actively working on getting enrollments for you. One of the recommendations I make here in terms of how you lead your team and marketing department is to always set your school up for long-term success. One day you are going to move on, and you don't want all of your work to be undone the next day. You really want to leave a legacy, leave systems that will leave the school empowered and help you to leave a legacy. So my policy is that there always has to be someone that can do a task. So if I have a sick day, if I leave one day, that there's no task that my team cannot do. And that's just a good philosophy in terms of building your marketing team. One of the objections that I get in terms of building the team and marketing budget is that they really feel bad asking for more. And I think the starting point here is for you to build your confidence that you are being diligent with what you have. and that you can, like, if you get $1,000 in terms of marketing spend, that you know in your heart that you are giving them a good return on investments. And once you've built that confidence, you will build your confidence to ask to grow your marketing team and budget.